Something we're commonly seeing with new athletes is that as soon as they reach out and while they're still breathing, they drop their arm and their other arm is back here. So now they're totally off balance and they also have this wide surface area that's now moving through the water and it's causing them to sink. So what we tell our athletes is you need to enter the water about where the forearm is, a little bit closer versus extending out, because if you enter really far out in front of you and then try to reach out as well under the water, it's just not going to happen. So make sure we're entering, and in the water we're now reaching out, and usually that timing is along with the breath. And then as you're breathing, you want to keep that arm out in front of you or be setting up the catch. You don't want to be pulling that water back. It has to stay in front of the head. So reach out, set up, fingertips to the ground as this other arm is coming around, and only as this arm is now starting to move forwards past the head, you're then having this, what I call a switch. You're then starting to pull that arm backwards. So make sure you're not entering too far out in front of you. Make sure we're entering and then extending, and then keep that arm there, or start setting up the catch with that elbow in front of you before this, until this arm comes around and enters at the same time. The angle of the catch, or to which you're pushing water back, this is a common mistake I'm seeing. And what most people do wrong is that the angle is too acute. So they're reaching out and then they're starting to pull, and their fingertips go to the side of the pull. When that typically happens, they're also crossing over. And then this angle is too acute to really push water back, and now their elbow is dropped, and so they aren't forming this good paddle with bigger surface area to push water back behind them and in turn move you forwards. So what you need to do is, it's just, you see two ways. Fingertips are straight down, and so you can see this angle right here, a little more open triangle, or just like this perfect diamond shape and triangle where fingertips are still facing down but they never cross over the center line of the body. This is a common mistake we see with a lot of athletes. When you enter the water with your hand, we want to see our palm down, as well as when you extend. Too many times I see athletes enter the water and they have kind of the side of their hand down or their thumb down, and then they correct it under the water. That or the opposite. We see them perfectly enter the water, fingertips first, then wrist with the palm down, but then as they're reaching out, they turn to the side and that elbow drops, or they go thumb down and then start to push water out. So I'll just have you guys think about, make sure you enter palm down, fingertips to the other side of the wall, and then from there, when you extend, make sure the palm stays down and the fingertips always stay below the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder before setting up the catch. We're going to show the two angles of what your arm should look like from the front and also from the side. So from the front, you're entering in line with the shoulder, and then the fingertips are down. As you can see here, it's about 120 degrees and we're creating a triangle, okay? From the side, you want that elbow in front of you as you're starting to push water back, not to the side. That's a little bit too late. So that's why this was termed the early vertical forearm. And you can see you're creating basically almost a 90 degree from the angle down to the fingertips, and then this is about 120 degrees as well. Okay, so when you're swimming, I want you to think of a line going up and down your shoulders. Make sure your hands never go outside of that line. So what does that mean? When you enter in line with that shoulder, might be a little bit in, but never go outside it. When you start to pull water back, same thing, make sure the hand stays inside of that line. Very commonly, I see an athlete move their hand outside of that line and outside of their perfect streamlined position. Same thing when you're pushing water back. You want to push water back straight in line below this side of the body, on that line or just on the inside of the line, not pushing out. So pretend you have lines going up and down the shoulders, down to the quads. Have your hands stay on that line or right inside the line.